Hello all, welcome. My name is Kastro. In this video, we are going to see a real-time project where we are going to integrate the different tools and the services that are available in the DevOps. As a part of this project, we are going to see how to deploy a Swiggy-based application by using the different tools and services as a part of DevOps. Firstly, let me explain you what are the different tools that I am going to use in order to do the application deployment. Along with that, let me also explain what are the different stages that I am going to use in the Jenkins pipeline. Usually, whenever we create the resources, we will generally use the AWS console. But as a part of this project, I am going to show you how to create the resources, that is EC2 instance and the security groups, by using a tool which is known as Terraform. Now, in order to work with the Terraform, we need to integrate Terraform with an AWS user, and we have to create the AWS configuration also. Once we do that configuration, then we are going to create the infrastructure by using the Terraform tool. Once the infrastructure is created, then we are going to use GitHub, where our source code of the application is available. Once the source code of application is available in the GitHub repository, then we are going to create the Jenkins. In the Jenkins, we are going to configure the different tools and the credentials that are required for this project. Once Jenkins setup is completed, then we are going to use the code quality analysis tool, which is called as SonarQube. By using SonarQube, we are going to perform the quality of the code, where we will get to know how many bugs are available, how many vulnerabilities are available, and all other details with respect to the source code of the application. Once the SonarQube completes the code quality analysis, then we are going to use another tool which is called as OWASP. OWASP is a file security scanning tool where it is going to perform the deep level scanning of the entire code that is available in the GitHub. Once this is done, then we are also going to use one more tool which is called as a Trivy. Trivy is also a file system scanning tool where it is going to perform the file scan by using the code that is available in the GitHub. Once the file system scanning is completed, then we are going to use the Docker in order to create the Docker image, or in order to build the Docker image. Once the Docker image is built, we will also see how to push the Docker image to the Docker Hub or to the Docker registry. Once the Docker image is created, then we are going to scan the Docker image by using Trivy here. And once the image is scanned successfully, then we are going to push the Docker image to the Docker Hub, and then we are going to create the Docker container. Once the Docker container is created, then our application will be deployed successfully into the Docker container. Once the application is successfully deployed into the Docker container, we are going to access the application in the browser. Once all these stages gets completed, then we can say our project is successfully deployed into the Docker container. As a part of this project, I am not going to explain about how to do the Kubernetes cluster deployment of this particular application. That we will see it in the upcoming videos, but this video is mostly focusing on deploying the application inside the Docker container and then accessing that application by using the Docker port number that we are going to map. So these are the different things that I am going to use as a part of this project. So firstly, let us use Terraform in order to create the infrastructure. But before creating the infrastructure, let me show you what is the Terraform code that I have written in order to create the required resources in the AWS console. So this is the Terraform code which I am going to use in order to automate the resource creation. So let me explain you what is the things that I have kept in this particular code. So here there are different resources that I am going to create. The first resource is I am going to create the security group in order to launch the EC2 instance. So AWS _ security _ group, that represents I am going to create the security group. And this is the name of the security group which gets created. Project -SG. That means project security group. Here, if you want to change the name of the security group, you can change. There is no rule that you should only use this one. Now, once this security group gets created, then it is going to open automatically all these ports. Port 22 is for SSH connection. Port 443, I'm just using it for normal case. And port 80 is for HTTPS. Port 8080 is for Jenkins. And port 9000 is for SonarQube. This is the default port number of Jenkins, and this is the default port number of the SonarQube. And once this security group gets created, I have given the ingress rules and I have given the egress rules as well. And I'm going to tag the security group with the name called project-sg, which is project security group. And once this security group gets created, then this security group has to be attached to the EC2 instance. So that is the next resource which I am going to create. That is AWS _ EC2 instance. Now here we need to provide the AMI. Here, if you use the same AMI, it may not work because I am going to create the EC2 instance inside a different region. I'll show you that in some time. So AMI ID is this one. We will get the AMI ID from the AWS console. For this project, we cannot go with t2.micro instances. So since we are integrating different tools, we need to go for higher end instances. So I'm going to use the instance type as t2.logs. And I'm going to use the key pair name, which has with the name called Kastro. So this is the key pair name, which I have already created, or I will be creating in this project. And whatever is the name of the PEM file that you are going to use, that should be the same name which you should give here. And then I am going to create the user data. Now, what is this user data? This user data, it is going to get the data from the resource.sh file. Now, what will be there inside the resource.sh file? It will be there, the different resources installation part. Now, here you can see, first I have installed Jenkins. Now, in order to install Jenkins, I need to install JDK. So I have given that also. And then I'm going to install the Docker. These are the Docker installation commands. And then I'm going to install the Trivy. So these are the different things that will get installed automatically once the EC2 instance gets created by using this main.tf file. So what is the template file? The template file name is resource.sh file. So whatever is the name of resource.sh file, that should be the same name that we should give for the user data tab. Now, whatever the content that is available in the resource.sh file, all that content will get installed inside the EC2 instance automatically. Now here, I'm not going to install anything in a manual way because we are going to use Terraform. As we use commonly in the real-time scenarios, in order to create the automation of the infrastructure, I am using Terraform for each and every particular step installation. If you want a detailed notes on all of these things, I have already explained about how to install Jenkins, Docker, and a couple of other things such as SonarQube in my previous videos. I'll be giving you the links of those videos in the description of this particular video. Now, this is about the main.tf file, and I'm going to use the EBS volume size as 30 GB because 30 GB is the maximum for free tier accounts. So I'm going to use the maximum one so that we can install all the required things without any kind of problem. And then there is one more file which is called as provider.tf file. And here you can see I'm going to create the resources in the region called AP-Southeast-2. Suppose if you are creating the resources in any other region, you should give that region code. For every region, there will be a region code. So the same region code, if you give, then the resources will get created in that particular region. So remember, these are the three files that I am going to use in order to create the infrastructure. And inside that infrastructure, all these things such as JDK, Jenkins, Docker, and Trivy will get installed automatically. So now to work with these one, that is infrastructure creation, what we have to do is we have to create one user, that is IAM user. Once we create the IAM user, we are going to create the access keys and secret keys. By using those access keys and secret keys, we are going to configure the AWS inside the VS Code editor, where Once the configuration is done, we are going to use the Terraform commands in order to create the infrastructure. So first, let me go to the IAM console. In the IAM console, you can see users. So just click on users and let me create a new user. So click on create user and I'm giving the user name as Kastro. You can give whatever name you want, but I'm just giving this name. And then I'm going to get the user AWS management console permission. Again, this is an optional, but it is recommended to give for this project. However, I'm not going to use this particular user in order to create the infrastructure. I'm creating this user just to create the AWS access keys and secret keys. And then I want to create an IAM user, select this one, and let it be the auto-generated password. And I don't want the IAM user to create a new password. So I'm just unchecking this one and then click on next. And here I'm going to attach the policies directly. So select this one. And here for the IAM user, which I'm going to create, I'm going to give the complete administrator permissions. So let me check this one so that the administrator permissions will be available for the IAM user that I'm creating. Just scroll down and then click on next and just review and create the IAM user. So let me click on create user. Now, this is how you can create the IAM user. So you can see IAM username is Kastro and IAM password. It was auto-generated by AWS itself. Now, once this is done, let me go to the user. So click on view user and then click on continue. Now, what we have to do is we have to create the access keys and secret keys. Now, in order to create the access keys and secret keys, first you need to open the user. So I have just opened the user. And then if you scroll down, here you can see an option called security credentials. So click on security credentials. And if you scroll down a little bit, you can see access keys. Now here what to do is we need to create the access keys and secret keys. Why we are creating the access keys and secret keys? Because I want to configure AWS in the VS Code editor, because from this is where I am going to execute the Terraform commands. So for that, I am going to create the access key and secret key. So just click on create access key. I'm going to select the use case as CLI because I'm using VS Code editor terminal, and then scroll down, click on confirmation, and then click on next. You don't have to give any kind of description. If you want, you can give, otherwise it's an option. And then click on create access key. Once this access key gets created, then you can see access key is available and secret access key is also available. Now, by using these two things, we are going to configure the AWS. Now, in order to configure the AWS, as I was mentioning, you have to go to the folder where the resources are available. That is provider file and main.tf file and the resource.sh file is available. Now, as of now, what I will do is I will keep this entire code and the files in a separate folder in the repository. The repository link, the GitHub repository link is provided in this video. Now, what you have to do is you have to clone that repository into your local system. Once you clone the repository into the local system, what you can do is just open the VS Code terminal. So this is how the VS Code terminal will be available once when you open that one. Once you cloned the repository, open the VS Code terminal in that repository path or in that cloned folder path. Now, how will you do that? You can see open folder. There is this option called open folder. So click on open folder. Once you click on that, you have to go and select the path where you have cloned the repository where the provider.tf, main.tf, and resource.sh files are available. Make sure of this one. So let me click on open folder. So click on open folder, and this is where my entire scripts are available. Terraform script. This is the folder which I have created in my local system once I cloned from the GitHub repository. With the same name, I'll be giving the GitHub repository link for the Terraform script also. So when you clone the repository into your local system, you will be getting this particular name itself. That is a Terraform script folder. You open that folder. Here you may not see anything because all those files are Terraform files. But anyway, just open that folder and then click on select folder. Once you open that folder, you can see in the left pane, all the files are available. So you can see main.tf file, which is this one, and provider.tf file, which is provider block, and then resource.sh file is also available. Now what we have to do is we need to open and configure the AWS in the VS Code terminal. So how will you open the terminal in the VS Code? If you want to open the terminal in the VS Code, you can see at the bottom, there are two options. One is with cross mark and the other one is warning symbol. So just click on these options. So when you click on these options, you will be getting this particular dialog box. Once you go get this terminal, here you can see an option called terminal. So just click on the terminal. Now, this is where we have to configure the AWS. You can see this is the path where my Terraform script are available. That is main.tf, provider.tf, and resource.sh files are available. Now, how will you configure AWS? The command is AWS space configure. This is the command to configure the AWS. So let me click enter. Now it will ask me to provide the access key and secret key. So how will you get the access key? We have created the IAM user, and for that IAM user, I have created the access key. So copy that access key and then go back here, paste the access key. Once you click enter, it will ask you to provide the secret key as well. So in order to get the secret key, again, go back to the same IAM user, copy the secret key, paste it here, and then click enter. Now you can see the default region name. Now here, I am creating the resources in the region called AP-Southeast-2. This particular region code belongs to the Sydney region. Now here, if you see, I am currently there in the Sydney region. If I click on the Sydney region, the region code is AP-Southeast-2. If you are creating the resources in any other region, you should give that particular region code. Suppose, let's say, if you are creating the resources in the North Virginia region, you should give the region code as US-East-1. But currently, I am creating the resources in the AP-Southeast-2. So here also, you should give that name only wherever you want to create the resources, AP-Southeast-2. Click enter, and then the default output format, let it be JSON format, and then click enter. Now with this, we have successfully configured the AWS. Once you configure the AWS, then we have to run the Terraform commands. Okay, then we have to run the Terraform commands. Now, first thing that we have to do is we have to initialize the Terraform. Now, how will you initialize the Terraform? The command is Terraform init. This is the command to initialize the Terraform. Just like how we initialize a git init, here also we should initialize the Terraform by using Terraform init. So let me click enter so that the Terraform will get initialized. You can see Terraform is getting initialized. See, if you are doing it for the first time, it may take 1 or 2 minutes to get initialized. Once that initialization gets completed, then you have to execute a couple of commands where we are going to create the infrastructure. So you can see once after I have initialized the Terraform, you can see Terraform has been successfully initialized. Once the Terraform initialization is completed, let us execute a command in order to see what is the resources that I am going to create by using the provider.sh file and the main.tf file. So here I will be giving a command which is known as Terraform plan. So this particular command is used to see the information of the resources that we are going to create. So just click enter once you give Terraform plan so that it will be giving you the detailed information of whatever the resources that you are going to create. Now, from where this particular information will come? This particular information will be available from the main.tf file. In the main.tf file, I have created the information related to the security groups. I have created the information related to the AWS EC2 instance also. You can see these are the different resources that gets created. Now, once this Terraform initialization and Terraform plan is completed, then we have to do Terraform apply. So when you do Terraform apply, what will happen is the resources will get created automatically. So I'll just give it as Terraform apply --auto -approve. So this is the command in order to create the resources. But before clicking enter here, let me go to the main.tf file. If you see here, what is the security group name? I have given the security group name as project-sg. What is the instance name? If you scroll down, you can see I have given the instance name as Kastro. Now, by using these two resources, what will happen is security group will get created and the instance name will be given as Kastro. Now, before doing this one, what you have to do is you have to give the instance type. So here I am giving the instance type as t2.large. When you are practicing also, you should give the same instance type. Now, this is the most important thing, which is AMI ID. So from where you are going to get the AMI ID, suppose if you go to the AWS console, click on launch instance. In whichever region you want to create the resources, go to that region. And then if you scroll down here, you can see I'm going to use Ubuntu instance for this resource. I mean, for this project. So let me click on Ubuntu and I'm going to use 24.04 version of the Ubuntu. Now, once you do this, you will be getting the AMI ID. You can see this is the AMI ID. So copy this AMI ID and then paste it here. Whatever is the AMI ID that you are going to paste here, by using that only, the resource will get created. This is the first thing. And then the second thing is, I was talking about the key pair name. So let me show you that key pair name also. So the key pair name in this case is Kastro. Okay, the key pair name in this case is Kastro. So first, what we have to do is we have to create a key pair. Okay, we have to create a key pair. You can see key pair name. So let me go to the AWS console. Let me cancel it here because I don't want to launch the instance using the AWS console. So in the left pane, you can scroll down to see key pairs. So just click on key pairs and just create one key pair. A normal key pair you can create. So how will you create a key pair? Just click on create key pair, give the name of the key pair, select a .pem file, and then click on create key pair. Once you click on create key pair, whatever name that you have given here, okay, whatever name that you have given here, the same name you should give here also. Make sure the capital letters and small letters are properly given, because if you don't give properly, the resource will not get created. So these are the two important things that you have to focus. One thing is providing the AMI ID. How will you get the AMI ID? You have to go to the AWS console, go to specific region, and then select the AMI ID. Once that is done, then we have to give the key pair name. So how will you get the key pair name? Whatever the first you have to create the key pair in the AWS console. Whatever name that you have given here, the same name you should also provide it here. I have already created the key pair in the AWS console. That is why I'm giving this particular name, which is called as Kastro. If you want, I can show that key pair name here also. So let me cancel it here. And here you can see the key pair name, which is Kastro. So whatever name that I have given here, with the same name, I have to provide here also. Right. Now, before clicking apply, before clicking enter here for Terraform apply, let me show you the security groups. So what is the security group name? Project-SG. So when I go to the security groups, let me first show you whether that security group is available or not. You can see currently I have only one security group, which is the default security group. So I don't have any security group with the name called Kastro-SG. So here I have given the security group name as Kastro-SG. So with that name, I don't have any kind of security group. You can see that here, right? The same thing, it is also not available in the AWS console also, right? Now, let me go to the instances. In the instances also, currently, I don't have any instance with a name called Kastro. You can see no instances. Now, let me go to the Terraform and let me show you what is the instance name. If you scroll down a little bit down, you will be able to see what is the instance name. So here you can see the instance name is Kastro. Okay, the instance name is Kastro. So let me create instance. So how will you do that? Click on Terraform apply --auto space --approve. Let me click enter. Once this is done, the resources will get created automatically. So you can see the Terraform resource creation is completed. You can see apply complete. How many resources got created? 2 resources. What are they? One is security group and the other one is the EC2 instance. So for that EC2 instance, the security group which we have created should get attached. You can see all these things has got executed. So when you are doing it for the first time, it may take 1 or 2 minutes based upon the resource creation. But once it is done, it will be showing successfully like this. Apply complete, how many resources created, and all these details. Right. Now let us go to the AWS console and verify whether the AWS resources has got created or not. First, let me check whether the EC2 instance got created or not. So currently you see there are no instances. Let me reload this page. And once you reload the page, we should see the instance name, that is Kastro. So what is the instance type? You can see t2.large. So this is the same instance which got created by using AWS. Now let us also verify the security group. So if you scroll down in the left pane, you can see under network and security, this option called security group. Now, can you see, just reload the page, you will be able to see the security group, which is project-sg. So from where this is from the Terraform file, that is main.tf file. If you see here, this is the name of the project that I have, security group, which I have given. By using this name, the security group has got created. And by using the name called Kastro, the EC2 instance has got created. So like this, you can automate the infrastructure creation by using AWS Cloud. So this is how you can do the first step, that is by creating the infrastructure using Terraform scripts. So now the next thing is we have to access the console. That is, we have to access the Jenkins and we have to access the SonarQube. Now, in order to access the Jenkins and SonarQube, make sure that you are going to connect to the EC2 instance. So how will you connect to the EC2 instance? Just go to instances and then select the instance, copy the public IP address of the instance, go to the mobile XTM. So I'm using mobile XTM to connect to the EC2 instance. So click on session, click on SSH, and then in the place of remote host, you have to provide the public IP address of the instance, specify username. That is by default, the Ubuntu instances will have a username as Ubuntu, advanced SSH settings, use private key, and then click on the file icon. Before creating the EC2 instance, by using Terraform, we have created one key pair file. So that key pair file you have to select. So let me click on the file icon and then select the key pair file. This is the PEM file, that is key pair file, which I have selected. So double click on it and then click on OK. Once this is done, then you will be able to connect to the EC2 instance. So let me clear the screen, and then first thing that we have to do is let me switch to the root user. So if you want to switch to the root user, the command is sudo su. Now, if you do who am I, you can see I'm the root user. And then let me update it, sudo apt update. That's a command to update the existing packages. Now, what should happen? Jenkins should be running and SonarQube should also be available. By default, Jenkins will run on port number 8080. So let us access the Jenkins console. So first, let me go to the EC2 instance, select the instance, copy the public IP address, and then go to a new tab and then paste the public IP address. By default, Jenkins is going to run on port number 8080. So give the port number as 8080 and then click enter. Now you should be able to see the Jenkins homepage. So you will be seeing the Jenkins. Now, in order to access the Jenkins, we need to get the administrator password. Now, in order to get the administrator password, this is the path where the administrator password is available. Now, you might have a question, how Jenkins got installed? I did not install Jenkins in the mobile XTM. So how we have installed Jenkins in the EC2 instance? By using main.tf file, where we have connected with resource.sh file. In the resource.sh file, I have given all the required commands to install JDK, to install Jenkins. Along with that, it will also install Docker as well. Along with that, it is also going to install Trivy as well. So that is how the infrastructure creation and automatically installing the required softwares inside the EC2 instance is possible by using Terraform. If you want, you can also execute all these commands if you are not using Terraform for that. But since I'm using Terraform, I'm doing the resource creation and installation of tools inside that EC2 instance by using a single file. So that is the advantage of working with Terraform. Now, let me go to the mobile XTM. Let me show you whether Java is available or not. Java -- version. You can see Java 17 version is available. How this 17 version has come? It is because in the resource.sh file, I have given the Java version as 17. You can see it here. Apt install Temerin -17 JDK. JDK means Java Development Kit. So that is how Java got installed. And along with that, the Jenkins is also up and running. So how will you verify whether Jenkins is running or not? Sudo systemctl status Jenkins. So if you do that, you should see active and running. Can you see? Jenkins is currently active and running. So that means Jenkins is also installed. Once you do this one, just press Ctrl+C to come out of the terminal. Now let us set up the Jenkins. Now go back to here And then here, the administrator password will be available. So copy this path and then go to the mobile extension. Let me do cat command because I want to see the password, and then paste it and click enter so that you will be able to see the password here. So copy this entire password. Make sure to copy the password and then go to the Jenkins dashboard, paste it here, and then click on continue, so that Jenkins is going to ask us to install the default plugins. So just click on install suggested plugins, so that Jenkins is going to install all the required plugins by default. And if you want any extra plugins, we have to install it manually in the Jenkins dashboard. That we will see once this setup is completed. Now, let it get completed. Let us also access the SonarQube dashboard also. So how will you access the SonarQube? Just select the instance, copy the public IP address of the instance, and then go to the new tab, paste the public IP address. We know that SonarQube will run on default port number, which is 9000. That's the default port number. Now click enter so that SonarQube will also get launched. Once the SonarQube is launched, we have to set up the login ID and password. Now the default login ID is admin and the default password for SonarQube is admin. So just type admin and then click on login, so that it will be asking you to create a new password. So let me click the old password is admin. That's the default one. And new password, if you want, you can set anything of your required convenience. So I have just set the new password and then click on update. Now this is where the SonarQube will perform the code quality analysis. You can see SonarQube, currently we don't have any projects, and then you can see issues, and this is where you will get to know the details of bugs, vulnerabilities, code smells, and all those things. And you can see some default rules will be available here. You can see these are the default tools: quality profiles, quality gates, and the administration. If you want to do any kind of configurations, we will do by using these things on. So we'll explore these ones once everything is done. Right. So this is how you can set up the Jenkins and SonarQube. Now you might have a question, how these port numbers called 8080 and 9000 are working, because those port numbers I have given it in the Terraform script. If you see main.tf file, I have opened the ingress and egress rules. If you scroll up a little bit, you can see the port numbers I have opened, 8080 and 9000. So whenever the security group gets created, automatically all these ports will get opened. Since all these ports has got opened, I am able to access SonarQube, and I am also able to access Jenkins as well. Once this is done, then we have to install a couple of plugins in the Jenkins. So let me pause the video so that all these plugins will get installed. Once this is done, then I will show you what kind of configuration we need to do in the Jenkins. Once after all the tools gets installed successfully, then this is the page that we are going to get where we need to create the admin user. So let us create the admin user. The username, you can give whatever username you want. So I'm just giving this as the username, and password also you can create one custom password of your convenience, and you can give the full name and you can give the email also. So I'm just giving these details. Once you give this, just click on save and continue. And then you can see this is where the URL which is used to access the Jenkins. So let me click on save and finish so that you can start using the Jenkins now. So once you click on start using Jenkins, this is the entire Jenkins dashboard. Right. Now, as of now, we have created the EC2 instance and we have created the security group. Along with that, we have installed all the things that are required by using Terraform. That's the first stage in our process. The second stage is I have set up the Jenkins also. Now in the Jenkins, what we have to do is we have to do the application deployment. But in order to do the application deployment, we need to configure some tools here. We need to configure the tools, we need to install some plugins, and we need to do some system configuration also. So let me do those things. So first, let us install some plugins. Now, in order to install the plugins, you can see in the Jenkins dashboard, there is this option called Manage Jenkins. So click on Manage Jenkins, system configuration. You can see there is an option called plugins. So just click on plugins. And here you can see there is this option called available plugins. So this is where we have to install the additional plugins. So we need some plugins because we are installing SonarQube, we are working with Docker and all those things. So that's why we have to install those plugins. So the first plugin which I'm going to install is known as Eclipse Temurin Installer. So the reason why we are installing this particular plugin is Whenever we are using the different versions of Java for a project, by using this plugin, we can select the Java version, required Java version we can select. So that's why I'm installing this plugin. Now let me install one more plugin, which is called as Pipeline Stage View. Now this particular plugin will allow us to see the stage-wise execution of the pipeline. So that's why I'm installing this one, for just a better representation of pipeline execution status. Once this is done, then we are going to install SonarQube. Why we need to install SonarQube scanner plugin? Because we will use SonarQube in order to scan the code or in order to do the code quality analysis. So that's why I'm installing SonarQube scanner plugin also. Once this plugin also got installed, our application is basically a Node.js application. So I'm just going to select the Node.js. This is also the plugin that we are going to use. And along with that, I was telling we are going to do the file system scanning by using OWASP. So let us install that plugin also. OWASP is the name. And here you can see, if you scroll down, you can see OWASP dependency check. Okay, this is the plugin that we have to install. So select this dependency check, OWASP dependency check plugin. And then the next thing that we have to do is we need to deploy the application into the Docker container, and we need to build the Docker image. So for that, we have to install the Docker related plugins. So let's just type Docker and select all the plugins that are with the name called Docker. So first select this one. Docker Commons also we have to do. Docker Pipeline also we have to install. Docker API also we have to install. And then Docker build step also we have to install. And that's it. These are the things. So these are the different plugins that we have to install. You can see Eclipse Temurin installer, Pipeline Stage View, SonarQube Scanner, Node.js, OWASP dependency check, Docker, Docker Commons, Docker Pipeline, Docker API, and Docker build step. So these are the different plugins that we have to install. So let me click on install here so that the plugins will get installed. You can see the plugins are getting installed. Once the plugins gets installed successfully, what we have to do is we need to configure some tools. Okay, we need to configure some tools. So what are the tools that we have to configure? Typically, we are using JDK, that is Java Development Kit. So we have to configure JDK, and we have to configure the OWASP dependency check and a couple of other tools also. So let me show you what is that. Let me pause the video first so that this installation will get completed. So now you can see all the tools have got successfully installed. Once it gets installed, click on go back to the top page. Now what we have to do is we need to configure some tools which are required to work with the deployment of application. Now, in order to do the deployment of application, what we have to do is we have to click on Manage Jenkins. So just click on Manage Jenkins. In the Manage Jenkins, under System Configuration, you can see an option called Tools. So just click on the Tools option where we need to configure the tools. So I'm just clicking on Tools option. Once you click on Tools option, this is where we need to configure all the tools. So first, let us configure Java tool. So click on Add JDK and then give the name of the JDK as JDK 17. So that is the name which I am going to give, because this same name I have configured in the pipeline also. Whatever pipeline script I have written, so this is the entire pipeline script which I have written. The tool name I have configured as JDK 17. So whatever name I have configured here, we should configure the same name in the Jenkins dashboard also. So that is how this plays an important role. Once this is done, then we have to configure the other tools as well. And now click on Install Automatically and then click on Add Installer, and you can see Install from adoptum.net. This is the place where we will select the different Java versions. So I'm just clicking on Install from adoptum.net. Once you click on that, you will be able to select the different versions of Java that are available for the project. So let me click on Install from adoptum.net, and here I am going to select the Java 17 version. So currently for this project, I am going to select Java 17.0.11 plus 9. Once you select that one, you can select the different versions of Java also, but let me go with 17.0.11 plus 9. So this is how you can install the Java. Now Git installation is an optional thing. If you want, you can check on install automatically. Otherwise, if you leave it also, there won't be any problem. So I'm just checking it now. And then the next thing we have to do is SonarQube scanner installation. Usually our Jenkins dashboard will be connected to the SonarQube. So here is where we need to configure this particular SonarQube because the project should come and sit in the SonarQube where SonarQube will perform the code quality analysis. So let me click on add SonarQube here. Once you do that, here we should give the SonarQube tool name. I'm giving the name as sonar-scanner. The reason why I am giving this name is in the Jenkins pipeline script, I have given the SonarQube tool name as sonar-scanner. Whatever name that I have configured here, the same name I should configure in the Jenkins dashboard also. If you are changing the name, make sure to change the name here as well. Otherwise, you can go with the same name as also. And then I'm going to check the install automatically. And I'm selecting the latest version, which is currently available. If you want, you can also select any other versions also, but I'm just going with the latest version of the tool that is available. Once this is done, then we need to go with Maven installation. But for this project, Maven is not required because it's a Node.js project. So let me click on add Node.js so that the Node.js will be configured here. And here I'm giving the Node.js installation tool name as Node 23 because that is the current and the latest version which is available. So select Node 23, and here also whatever name I have given here, the same name I have configured in the Jenkins pipeline also. So that is the reason why I am giving the name. If you are changing the name in the pipeline, make sure to change the name even in the Jenkins dashboard as well. So remember these points, whatever names that you are giving here, the same names you should give there also. And once this is done, then we have to ensure what kind of other things that we have to do. So I am selecting the version as a 23 and then scroll down. And here is where we need to work with the Docker installation. So let me click on add Docker and I'm going to give the Docker name as Docker. And here what it will do is it is going to connect to the Docker Hub. The same name you can see I have given in the pipeline script also. And this is where I have given in the build and push stage, I have given the tool name as Docker. So whatever name I have given here, the same name I have configured here also. Make sure if you are changing the name in the pipeline, you should change there as well. So let me click on install automatically, click on add installer, and then download from docker.com so that Docker will get downloaded automatically. And I'm going to select the latest version, which is latest only. And then once all these things are done, then we have to configure one more tool, which is known as OWASP dependency check. So this is where we are going to configure dependency check installations. Click on add dependency check. And here, the name of the dependency tool, I am going to give it as according to the thing what I have given in the pipeline, which is dp-check. The same name with same capital letters and small letters I have configured in the OWASP file system scan stage of our Jenkins pipeline. You can see this is the name that I have given. The same name I have provided in the Jenkins dashboard, that is configuration of tools as well. Whatever name you are giving here, make sure to give the same name in the pipeline also. If you want, you can change, but make sure to change in both ways. And then I'm clicking on install automatically, click on add installer, and then install from github.com. And so that the OWASP will get downloaded from the github.com. And I'm going to select the latest version of dependency, which is 10.0.4. Like this, we can configure all the different tools, whatever are required. So first I have configured JDK with tool name as JDK 17 and version as 17. And then Git I have installed automatically. And then I have configured the SonarQube also with the tool name as sonar-scanner. This is the version of the SonarQube. And once that is done, I have installed Node.js with the tool name as Node 23 and version as 23.0.0. And finally, I have configured the dependency check, which is for OWASP. And I have selected the latest version also. And then I have configured the Docker also, which is the latest version. Once it is done, click on apply and then click on save button. So that whatever tools that we have configured, all those things will get saved. Now, once all these things are done, the next thing that we have to do is we have to work with the SonarQube configuration. Now, how will we configure the SonarQube in the Jenkins? Now, to configure that, we have to create the SonarQube token. So in order to create the SonarQube token, first, what we will do is we have to use the Jenkins URL and we have to tell to the SonarQube and Jenkins that this is where the SonarQube is going to run. So the IP address and the port number we should give to the Jenkins dashboard. Once we configure that in the Jenkins dashboard, then Jenkins will connect to the SonarQube and it will give us the entire file system scan details, that is code quality analysis report will be given in the Jenkins dashboard. So this is we have to do by clicking on administration. Once you click on administration, what we have to do is go to security and then go to usage. And here is where we are going to configure the different things. So let me click on usage. Now we have to create one SonarQube token. You can see the tokens option here. Just click on the three dots over there. Currently, we don't have any tokens. That is why it is showing 0. So let me click on here and then give the name as token. So I'm just giving the name as token. And this is about expiration. How many days you want the token to be active? So you can see 30 days, 90 days, 1 year, and no expiration. Since this is a normal project, a practice-based project, I'm going with 30 days. Once it is done, then you can click on generate option. You can change this expiration time according to your requirement. So this is the SonarQube token, which we have to configure in the Jenkins. Whatever the SonarQube token that we have configured here, this token we have to configure in the Jenkins dashboard. So let us see how to configure the token in the Jenkins dashboard. So now to configure the SonarQube token, just go to manage Jenkins. So click on manage Jenkins. In the manage Jenkins, you can see an option called system. Okay, system configuration. And under that, you can see option called system. Okay, you can see this option called system. So click on system. This is one option. This is where we are going to configure the global settings. Okay, global settings. Or you can also see one more option, which is security here. Okay, which is security here. This is where we are going to configure the SonarQube token. It is not here. Okay, it is not in the system configuration. It is in the security. So just go to security, click on, there is this option called credentials. You can see this option called credentials. So click on credentials here, and then you can see this option called global. Under stores scope to Jenkins, click on global and click on add credentials. And here we have to select the kind. So kind is actually the secret text. Okay, kind is actually the secret text. You can see in the SonarQube, the secret text has got generated. So copy this secret text and make sure to select the kind as secret text and secret. What is that secret? Whatever the token that you have generated, just copy that and paste it here. Right. Once this is done, and then give the ID. Okay, give the ID. So I'll be giving the SonarQube ID as sonar-token. So you can give any name. So I'm just going with this one, which is a sonar-token. And then the same name, I'm also giving it as description. The reason why I'm giving this particular name is in the Jenkins, in the Jenkins pipeline, I have configured the name as a sonar-token. You can see credentials ID, capital S, sonar-token. So you can see the credentials ID is capital S, sonar-token. Okay, make sure whatever name you have given here, the same name you should give here also. Right. Once this is done, just click on create. So this is how the SonarQube credentials got created. Okay, this is how SonarQube credentials got created. Now what we will do is we will create a webhook. Okay, we will create a SonarQube webhook. So how to create the SonarQube webhook? For that, just go to the SonarQube dashboard. And here you can see administration. So click on administration. And here you can see configuration. In the configuration dropdown, you can see this option called webhooks. So click on webhook. It is just like a GitHub webhook. Okay. So click on webhook. Now currently we don't have any webhooks. So let me click on create webhook here. So click on create, and then it is going to ask us the name. Let's say I'll give the name as Jenkins, and then here URL we have to provide. So what URL we have to provide? Jenkins URL we have to provide. Okay, so just copy the Jenkins URL. So I'm just copying up to 8080, paste the URL, and then give slash. After giving slash, what you should do is you should give in the end. Okay, in the end, you should give it as a SonarQube. Let me write that SonarQube hyphen webhook. Okay, SonarQube hyphen webhook slash. Make sure this is most important. This is how you can configure the SonarQube webhook. It is similar to GitHub webhook only, right? So I have given the SonarQube webhook also. Once this is done, then just click on create. You can see create option. So just click on create. So this is how you can configure the SonarQube webhook, right? Once this is done, then we have to configure the SonarQube URL in the Jenkins. Okay, we have to configure the SonarQube URL in the Jenkins. Now, how will you do that? Go to Manage Jenkins. In the Manage Jenkins, you will see System Configuration. In the System Configuration, System. So click on System. And then in the system, we have to scroll down to SonarQube servers. So let me go there, SonarQube servers. So just to scroll down to the bottom, you can see SonarQube servers. So here we have to tell to Jenkins that in this particular port number, okay, in this particular port number and the IP address, SonarQube is running. So I'm just copying this IP address and the port number of SonarQube, go to Jenkins dashboard, and in the SonarQube servers, okay, in the SonarQube servers, if you scroll down, you can see add SonarQube. So click on add SonarQube. I'm giving the name as sonar-server. Okay, I'm giving the name as sonar-server. And then server URL. Server URL is SonarQube URL. Okay, SonarQube URL. Or you can also copy up to HTTP also. Okay, I'm just copying the entire thing. So let me paste it here. Right. Make sure to remove the slash in the end. Don't keep slash in the end. You can see that. You can see the syntax also here. Right. Once I have given this one, make sure if you scroll down, you can see Sonar authentication token. So we have just added the SonarQube token, right? So if you click on this drop down, you can see this is the token that we have configured. So select this one, the token, whatever we have configured, and then click on apply and save. So all these things, whatever we have done, it is all related to the SonarQube. So first I have generated the SonarQube token. Then I have added the SonarQube token. Then I have created the webhook in the SonarQube. And then I have configured the SonarQube URL also. Okay, I have configured the SonarQube URL also. Right. Once this is done, then we need to configure the Docker Hub credentials also. Now you might have a question, why do we need to configure the Docker Hub credentials? The reason is once after the Docker image is built, okay, once after the Docker image is built, we have to send that Docker image to the Docker Hub. So make sure you have that Docker Hub account. Okay, if it is not there, try to create it. Then only this project will be successfully executed when you are practicing. So in order to create the account, this is the URL, that is hub.docker.com. In this particular link, you can create your Docker Hub account. If you already have, just click on sign in. If you don't have, click on sign up and then sign into the Docker Hub. So I'm just going to sign in using my existing email ID. Once you do that, you need to get the Docker Hub username. Okay, Docker Hub username. So how will you get the Docker Hub username? If you click on the icon here, the profile icon, you can see this is my Docker Hub username. Right. I'll do one thing. This is the project which I have done. So I'll just delete this Docker image. Okay, I'll just delete this Docker image so that we will create freshly for this project. So how will you delete the Docker image? If you scroll down, you can see this option called delete under settings. If you go here, and then here you can see delete repository, so that the Docker image will get deleted. So just give the image name, that is SWIGGY. Just click on delete repository so that the Docker image will get deleted. Right. Now you can see currently I have only one image, which is a Spotify-app. So this particular Docker image will get deleted. It will take some time. Okay. But anyway, this image we have deleted. Right. Now what we have to do, copy the Docker Hub username. Okay. Copy the Docker Hub username and then go to the Jenkins. And here we need to configure the Docker Hub credentials. Why we are doing this one? Because as soon as the Docker image is built, it should push to the Docker Hub. That is the reason. Right. And now in order to configure the Docker Hub credentials, go to Manage Jenkins. In the Manage Jenkins, security. Okay. In the security, you can see this option called credentials. So click on credentials and here click on global. Currently we have added the SonarQube token. Now let me add the Docker Hub credentials. So click on global, click on add credentials and then username, because Docker Hub will have a username and password. So kind is username with password, scope is global, username is a Docker Hub username. Whatever is your Docker Hub username, that name you should provide. Okay, you should provide here. And then Docker Hub password. Whatever is your Docker Hub password, give that Docker Hub password. So I'm just typing the Docker Hub password. And then ID, I'm giving it as a Docker. ID, I'm giving it as Docker. Description also, I'm giving it as a Docker. Okay. Now, this particular ID, I have already provided in the Jenkins pipeline. Okay, let me show you that. If you scroll down, you can see tool name, that is Docker. Okay, so the credentials ID here I have given it as a Docker hyphen credentials. You can see it here, Docker hyphen credentials. So let me give the same name here also. So ID is a Docker hyphen credentials. Description also I'm providing the same, but make sure ID is most important than description. Okay, once you do that, just click on create. That's it. So this is how we can configure the SonarQube credentials and Docker credentials in the Jenkins dashboard. These credentials are done. With this, everything is completed now. Okay, whatever the prerequisites that we have to do in order to build the job, everything is done. Now what we have to do is we have to build the job. Now, before building the job, first we have to create a job. So how will you create a job? Just go to the Jenkins dashboard. Okay, go to the Jenkins dashboard. Now click on new item. So just click on new item and then give the name, project name. So I'll give the project name as a SWIGGY application. And then select the pipeline because we are creating the pipeline only. Select the pipeline and then click on OK. Once you click on OK, then what we have to do, just click on pipeline here. And this is where we have to write the pipeline. So already I have written the pipeline. I'll be sharing you that pipeline also in the GitHub repository. The repository link is in the description of this video. Now, let me explain you what are the things that I have kept in the pipeline. Right. So first, I'm trying to install JDK and Node.js software. These are the JDK. This is JDK tool name, and this is the Node.js name. And then SonarQube scanner also I have installed. So it will connect to SonarQube scanner also. And then the first stage is it is going to clean the workspace. If there is any workspace, it will clean the workspace. This is the default one. Some people will prefer to keep this one. Some people will not prefer. But again, it's completely optional. It will just clear the workspace. That's it. And then the next stage is it is going to get the code from GitHub repository. Now here, this is the GitHub link. Now let me show you the GitHub link also. Okay, let me show you the GitHub repository, which I'm using for this project. You can see this is the repository link, DevOps-project-SWIGGY. Now, how will you get the repository link? If you click on code, you can see this is the repository link. Okay, that's the same link that I have provided here. But again, I will generate this one by using pipeline syntax. I'll show that in some time. Let me first explain the stages in the pipeline. This is the first stage where the code will be available from the GitHub. And then it is going to perform the SonarQube analysis. So SonarQube analysis, I have given the name, tool name as sonar-scanner, and then project name, I'm giving it as SWIGGY. Okay, because we are deploying a SWIGGY project, so I'm giving it as SWIGGY. And this is also the SWIGGY project name. And this is the tool name. Okay. And then the next thing is quality gate. Okay, SonarQube quality gate. And the SonarQube credentials I have configured here. You can see this is the SonarQube credentials name, sonar-token. And then I'm going to install one dependency, which is called as npm. Okay, for Node.js, we have to install a dependency. This is the default dependency for npm projects. I mean, Node.js projects. So I'm installing nps. And then the next stage is OWASP file system scan. Okay, it is going to perform the deep level scanning of the entire files that are available in the GitHub repository. So this is the tool name that I have configured, dp-check. And it is going to generate one report in the form of XML format. This is the name of the report. And this will be the extension of the report, .xml. And then it is going to do the file system scanning by using Trivy. Now, once it does the file system scanning, it is going to create one file called trivyfs.txt. Inside this file, all the file system related details will be available, trivyfs.txt. Once this is done, then it is going to build the Docker image. And then it is going to push the Docker image. Now, to build and to push the Docker image, I have configured the Docker Hub credentials and the tool name is Docker. So it is going to build the Docker image with the name called SWIGGY. This will be the name of the Docker image. And then it is going to tag that image. This is my Docker Hub username. You can see it here also. And this will be the name of the image, which is SWIGGY:latest image. And once it is created the image and it is going to tag the image, then that image will be pushed to the Docker Hub. Okay, this is the Docker Hub credential username. In your case, if you are practicing, this name will change based upon your Docker Hub username. So make sure to change these names. That is Docker Hub usernames, right? And then once the Docker image is created and it is pushed to the Docker Hub, once again, that image will be scanned again by Trivy. Okay, again by Trivy. That image scanning report will be available in the trivy.txt file. Okay. and then it is finally going to deploy into the container. Now here what I am doing, this is the container name. Okay, this is the container name, and this is the port numbers, host port number and container port number. So if you want to access the application, this will be the port number where our application will be accessible. And how this container will get created? By using this particular image. How this image got created? Because we have used that image creation in this stage. You can see Docker build -t Swiggy. Okay, by using that particular image, the latest version of image, it is going to deploy into the container. Once this deployment is completed, then we can access the application, which is available inside the container. So let me copy this entire thing and let me paste it in the Jenkins dashboard. So I hope you understood what are the different stages that are available in the Jenkins pipeline. So let me go here, let me paste it here. Now, one thing what you have to do is, when you are working, you have to fork this repository. Okay, you have to fork the repository. You can see there is an option called fork. Currently, I cannot fork because it is my own repository. Once you fork it, you will get your repository URL. So copy that repository URL. Okay, copy that repository URL. Now here we have to change. Okay, we have to change the one option. Let me show you that. So here we have to give the GitHub URL, that is repository URL. Now, how will you get this repository URL? If you scroll down, you can see this option called pipeline syntax. So I'm just opening this pipeline syntax in a new tab. Go here, and then here sample step is Git. Sample step is Git, and repository URL, paste the GitHub repository URL, in which branch the code is available. Currently, if you see in my GitHub repository, the code is available in the master branch only. So just give master here. If it is there in different branch, you give that branch name. GitHub credentials, currently it's a public repository. If you see, this is a public repository. So for public repository, you don't have to configure the credentials. So let it be as it is. And then click on generate pipeline script. Now this pipeline script, you have to paste it in the Jenkins pipeline. So let me copy that and let me paste it here. So in the place of this one, I will just place it. Make sure of this one. Rest everything we have already discussed. What are the steps that I have given? Everything I have discussed here. Right. Now let me click on apply and save. Now our job is ready. Our project is ready to build. Now currently, if you see, do I have any builds? No, I don't have any builds. Now let me go to the mobile XTEM. Let me show you whether Docker images are available or not. So how will you verify that? Docker images, you can see only SonarQube image is available. How this SonarQube image is available? Because we have installed the SonarQube by using the Terraform script. So that is why this image is available. Now, if you do Docker PS, you can see I have SonarQube related container. So this is where the SonarQube is also running. So we don't have the Swiggy application related image and Swiggy application related container. Okay, make sure of this. Now what we will do is we are going to build the pipeline. Okay, we are going to build the pipeline. So how will you build the pipeline? You can see an option called build now. Okay, you can see this option called build now. So just click on build now so that the pipeline will get triggered and stage wise the pipeline will get executed. Before clicking on build now, let me show you in the repository. You can see there is a Docker file. Inside this Docker file only, I have configured all the details. You can see it is going to get the node, okay, node 16 version. And then it is going to create the work directory with the name called /app. So this will be the path of the working directory. And then it is going to copy the package.json file. It is going to install the npm dependency. And then it is going to copy the code. And then it is going to run the npm for the creation of the application. And then it is going to expose this port. Okay, port number 3000. This is where our application is going to run. Okay, and this is how the application will get started by using npm start. Right. So let me click on build now here. So let me click on build now so that the stage wise execution will get happen. Now you can see the first build is getting triggered. Now, once the build get triggered, okay, then the stage wise execution will happen. So to see the stage wise execution, it will take some time. So once you do that, then automatically whatever stages that we have given in the Jenkins pipeline script, all those stages will get executed one by one. Now here, some stages will take a few seconds to get created or to get executed, but one stage will be there, which is called as OWASP stage. Okay, we have this OWASP file check, right? File system scan, right? This stage will take at least half an hour of time because it is going to check each and every file that is available in the GitHub repository. So that is why it will take so much of time. So what I'll do is I'll pause this video. Once this is done, then it will be I'll be showing you how the pipeline will get triggered, whether the build is success or not. If the build is failure, we have to verify how the build got failure and what is the reason for that, and we have to troubleshoot. If the build doesn't get failed, then we will be accessing the application directly. You can see the first stage, which is a declarative tool install. So it is going to install all the tools. So what are the tools? One is called as JDK. That is what we have given it here. And then the other one is Node 23, that is Node.js. And the other one is Sonar-Scanner. So it is going to do all the tool installation. So now you can see that is done. And then it has cleaned the workspace also. And now it is getting the code from GitHub repository. You can see checkout from Git. And now it is performing the SonarQube analysis. SonarQube analysis also will take 60 seconds to 70 seconds of time, or it may take less than that also. It depends. Once the SonarQube analysis stage is completed, then it is going to the next stage. You can see these stages are getting executed as per the pipeline script. So what is the first thing? First, it is going to install all the tools. And then it is going to clean the workspace. You can see that is what happened, clean workspace. Next stage is Git checkout. You can see checkout from Git. And then the next stage is SonarQube analysis. You can see SonarQube analysis also completed. And then next stage is quality gate. You can see that is the same stage that is available here. And then it is going to install a dependency called npm dependency. Now you can see installing dependencies also. Once this installing dependencies gets completed, then it is going to perform the OWASP file system scan. Okay, OWASP file system scan. You can see installing dependency also completed. And now this is the thing which will take more time, at least half an hour it will take. So you have to wait till this entire thing gets completed. So now what I will do is I'll pause this video. Once this stage gets successfully executed, then I will unpause the video and then I will show you whether that stage is successful or not. So here you can see the build has got successful. If you scroll down, you can see the entire first build which we have created that got successful in the first build itself. There was no error. Now let me show you what are the build stages. So you can see the first stage, that is tool installation, that is also completed. Workspace cleaning is also completed. And then it got the code from the GitHub repository. And then it has performed the SonarQube analysis. Along with that, quality gate reports also got generated. And then it has installed the npm dependency. Now, as I was telling, it will take at least a half an hour to perform the OWASP file system scan. You can see it has taken 35 minutes, 2 seconds to perform the entire complete file system scan, because it is going to do a deep level scanning of each and every file that is available in the GitHub repository. So that is why this particular stage will take too much of time. And then it has done the Trivy file system scan also. And then Docker image has got pulled and Docker image has got built. And then it has pushed it to the Docker container, it has pushed it to the Docker hub also. And then once it is pushed to the Docker hub, then again that image is also scanned one more time. That is called as Trivy file system scan. And once the image scan is successful, then it has successfully deployed the application into the container. Now these are the entire stages that got built, and each and every stage is also successful. You can see the build is first build only, #1 you can see. And you can also see here in the build history, #1, that is also successful. So like this, you can build the application. Now what you will do is, we are going to verify whether the Docker build is successful or not. Here we can see it is successful, but we have to verify that Docker image is created or not, and then whether the Docker image is pushed to the Docker Hub registry or not. And then we will see whether the application, whether the image has got deployed into the container or not. And then we will access the application. So first, let us verify whether Docker image has got built or not. Now let me do that. So for that, let me go to the MobaXterm. Now let me do a Docker images command, so that when you execute that one, you should see the SWIGGY image. Now earlier when I was executing Docker images, you can see I had only SonarQube image. Now what should happen? Since the pipeline is successful, Docker image should have got created. So let's verify whether that SWIGGY image is available or not. Now, can you see the SWIGGY image is available, and then it has pushed it to the Docker Hub also. So this is my Docker Hub username, and it has pushed with this particular name. And the tag is latest tag. You can see 5 minutes ago it has pushed, and you can also see the size of the image as well. Now let us verify whether the Docker container is also created or not. Earlier, what was the Docker container that is available? Only SonarQube container. Now, when you click enter, we should also see the SWIGGY container also. Now, can you see the SWIGGY container is also available? Can you see that? This is the name of the container. Let me zoom out a little bit. Let me clear the screen, or let me do Docker PS. Docker PS. You can see this is the SWIGGY container. Okay, this is the SWIGGY container. So SWIGGY container is running on which port number? Port number 3000. Okay, and by using which image this SWIGGY container got created? By using this particular image. How this image got created? When we executed the pipeline script, it got created. Okay, by using the Docker file, right? So now what we will do is application is running on port number 3000. So let us access the application. Now, how will you access the application? Just to copy the public IP address of the instance. Okay, copy the IP address of the instance, go to new tab, paste it, and then colon 3000. Why 3000? Because that is where our application is running. So let me click enter. We should be able to see the application. Now, this is our application that we have deployed successfully into the Docker container. So you can see the entire application is also available. So this application is not created by me, or it is not developed by me. It was developed by someone, which I have forked it from the GitHub repository, and I have made few changes into this repository. So this is the entire application which we have successfully deployed by using the Docker pipeline. Okay, you can see the entire Docker pipeline. So the same application, we can also deploy it into the Kubernetes cluster also. Okay, we can create the Kubernetes cluster, and then we can deploy that into the Kubernetes cluster also. And then we can also do the Kubernetes monitoring by using Prometheus and Grafana tools as well. That we will see it in the next video, where I am going to focus up to Kubernetes cluster creation and also monitoring of the application using Prometheus and Grafana, right? Now let us verify whether in the Docker Hub the image is available or not. Earlier, you see it was pushed 2 days ago. Now let me reload the page. We should be able to see the SWIGGY latest image. Okay, the SWIGGY latest image. So let's verify whether that image has got pushed to the Docker Hub or not. You can see SWIGGY image, and when it got pushed 7 minutes ago. Okay, that is today itself. It got pushed 7 minutes ago. Now let us also verify in the SonarQube whether the project is available or not, because we need to get the code quality reports. So I'm just reloading the page in order to see the projects. So let me go to the projects here. In the top bar, you can see projects. And here you can see the SWIGGY project is available. Okay, the SWIGGY project is available. Just click on the SWIGGY project and you will get to know the complete details. You can see 3 security hotspots. There were no bugs found. There were no vulnerabilities also. And code smells are also 0. And you can see the entire details. Okay, if you want to click on issues, you can see the issues details also. Security hotspots also it will be giving. And what kind of measures you can take to avoid those things, that also it will give. And you can also see the entire scripts what we have kept in the repository. So this is Argo CD folder, public SRC folder, Docker file, main.tf file, provider.tf file. All these things are available here. And then you can see in activity, what kind of activities you have taken. So this is how you can successfully deploy the application into the Docker container by using Jenkins pipeline. So as I was mentioning, we have used different tools in this project. Then this is actually a real-time project where Kubernetes is not used, but the deployment happened to the container, and we are successfully accessing the application as well. Now, once everything is completed, make sure to delete the EC2 instance. Since it's a T2.large instance, it will be giving you some charge for that. So to avoid charges, once after your practice is completed, just select the instance, go to instance state, and then click on terminate instance. Once you terminate the instance, the application will not be, you will not be able to access the application because the instance is getting terminated. Once you have successfully deployed the application, you can also post it on LinkedIn by tagging me, and you can also post this particular video link in your post so that the others who are looking to practice in your community and also in the real-time community, so it will be helpful for them also. You can also tag me. The LinkedIn link is provided in the description of this video. Thank you.